Welcome to another off-season edition of Giants Roundup. The Super Bowl's over. Guess what? We are just 10 days away. I think even less. We are 8 days away. No, not 8 days. 9 days away. There we go. 9 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting to camp. And we are just that's right, only 3 weeks away from spring training starting. So, and Bryce Harper, still unsigned. Manny Machado, still a free agent. Dallas Keuchel, still a free agent. But now on to baseball news for this week. You can follow on Twitter, join the Cricket Kite page on Facebook. Most importantly, please be kind and hit that subscribe button. And yeah, we're actually going to have some football news to talk about today. So maybe possibly the silver and black coming to Oracle Park in the 2019 season. We'll see what happens with that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But on to this week's signings. It looks like the Toronto Blue Jays signed Freddie Galvis to a one-year, $5 million contract. But it's joining another rebuilding team for Galvis. That's all it really is. The Texas Rangers signed Sean Kelly to a one-year, $2.5 million contract. Kelly could be a candidate to close for the Texas Rangers. Maybe a flip candidate. We'll see what happens there. The Miami Marlins signed Neil Walker to a one-year, $2 million contract, as he will be platooning with Peter O'Brien at first, but could also be playing more in a utility role for the Miami Marlins this year. And the Arizona Diamondbacks sign a rehabilitation project in Greg Holland for a one-year, $3.25 million contract. And Holland definitely really had a bad year last year. Holland's looking to maybe I don't think he's going to be the hard thrower he hasn't been the same pitcher since getting hurt. But he had a good season with the Rockies, and last year he was just terrible. He was surrendering as many earned runs and walks as strikeouts in St. Louis, and his ERA was over 8 in St. Louis. Then he goes to the Nationals. But I think Holland, this is maybe a redemption project in Arizona for the Snakes. He could certainly be in line to close, could be flipped for prospects if he does successful, low risk, high reward for the D-backs on that signing. And the Astros shore up their pitching needs by signing last year's big hero for the Milwaukee Brewers with Wade Miley. They signed Wade Miley to a one-year contract of $4.5 million. And he could slide into the 3 or 4 spot with the Astros. And Miley did pretty well, but he did have some injury issues in Milwaukee. Hoping to duplicate that success at hitter-friendly Minute Maid Park in Houston, he does join a pretty good rotation in Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole. Miley might be a cheaper option to shore up the number 3 spot, try to fill the void of Dallas Keuchel at a much cheaper rate. And then, of course, the back end of the rotation, you could maybe shore up the 4 spot too with Charlie Morton gone. You've still got Colin McHugh. And of course, there's some youngsters, and I wouldn't rule out another signing by the Astros or the Astros going out and acquire another starter here later on in the season. And then JT Realmuto close to being traded. And the San Diego Padres go out and talk with Bryce Harper. And we'll see what happens there. But I think it's time for Harper and Machado to start getting off the pot here with, as I say, we are getting 3 weeks away from spring training, so it might be time to start maybe consider accepting a shorter term contract, taking less money. So it might be time for the free agents to start getting off the pot at this point. But in other news this week, this was news just made yesterday for the Giants. It looks like the Oakland Raiders are interested in playing the 2019 NFL season at Oracle Park. I am not a fan of the idea of football at Oracle Park again. Oracle Park really was never built with the NFL in mind. And it would force both sidelines to be on one side in order for NFL to work. Number 2, the Raiders are a circus show already. I can't see them filling Oracle Park for NFL games. And I don't see Raider fans going for the idea of, I don't see Raider fans going to AT&T, Oracle Park to watch the Raiders play. And second of all, it's just Mark Davis sticking his little middle finger at Oakland at this point. And I just don't see Oracle Park being a really good fit for the Raiders. And this is a Raiders team that and this is maybe 1 or 2 years at the most. They're pretty much already on their way out to Las Vegas. So I honestly think the NFL should oppose the Raiders playing at Oracle Park. The 49ers should hold firm on those territory rights. Most of the Giants fans are Niner faithful. It just would not look right seeing the Raiders play in San Francisco. And yeah, the Niners now might play at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. But that wasn't the York family fault. It was on then former Mayor Gavin Newsom not wanting to furnish them a viable site for NFL football in the city of San Francisco at the time, when they wanted them to go to a hazardous shipyard at Hunters Point. And now with where Candlestick Park used to be, that's now being cleared for housing. And that's become a redevelopment project. But it's just, I remember how bad it was seeing Cal play football at Oracle Park a few seasons ago. It was not great. I think it's time to pull the plug on playing any more football at Oracle Park. It's just not a great venue to play football, having both sidelines on one side of the football field. And really, realistically, Oracle Park was never built with football in mind. Maybe the Raiders should renegotiate with Oakland. Maybe they've burned their bridge with the lawsuit. Who knows what's going to happen with that? I don't think or the other truly realistic option is Mark Davis should swallow his pride, go talk to Jed York at playing at Levi Stadium. I'm already seeing enough of this in the NFL. Look at what's going on with the LA Chargers down there in that soccer stadium in Carson. They cannot even sell out that soccer stadium. And I kind of think the Raiders in San Francisco might be the equivalent of the Chargers in LA. I just don't see San Francisco supporting the Raiders for 1 or 2 years. Maybe go play at Levi's. At least maybe that some Raider fans will travel down there. And at least that is built for NFL. But this could be a situation that might be even worse than the Chargers playing in that soccer stadium. And at least to the 2019 season, mercifully, will be the final year of that experiment of the Chargers playing at that soccer stadium. Problem is, will fans show up to that shiny new stadium in Inglewood to support the Chargers? I truly doubt it. They are more designed for San Diego. Will San Francisco go out and sell out Oracle Park for Raider games? I highly doubt it. I think Oakland is done rooting for the Raiders. And yeah, the lawsuit is hurting Mark Davis. But I think just the Vegas move was a very selfish move by Mark Davis. And if I'm Jed York, I'd be saying no to giving up my territory rights in San Francisco. And as I say, that San Francisco, they might be playing. The Niners might play in Santa Clara now, but the Niners have still left their heart in San Francisco, and I just can't see them waiving those territory rights. It just would not be right, in my opinion, for that. If the Raiders can't work out a deal to play at Oakland or Levi's, the only other realistic option left on the table for them to play would be Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. And yeah, that's not really designed for NFL, but it is, I think, a better venue than Oracle Park as in terms of a setup for NFL games. You could use that that'd be a more realistic bridge if you cannot work it out with Oakland, with the Coliseum or Levi's. I think maybe, I know Mark Davis is not crazy about the idea of playing at Sam Boyd Stadium at UNLV, but I think he might be caught between a rock and a hard place. Sam Boyd and Levi's are the two more realistic options for football than Oracle. I just can't see the NFL really go for it. And it would just ruin the quality of the field for September games at Oracle. I remember how bad the field conditions would suffer at Candlestick in August and September when the Niners would start playing football at Candlestick. And this is exactly why baseball and football, they got out of the cookie cutter stadiums and having the multi-use outdoor stadiums. Baseball and football just don't work together in the same field realistically, as in terms of sight lines and stuff for the fans. It just does not work well, and this is why you don't see multi-sports complexes anymore. And maybe for the A's, now that the Raiders are gone, maybe the A's can talk to Oakland about tearing down Mount Davis until that new stadium in Howard Terminal's built. That is the winner is the A's. Maybe they finally get out of Mount Davis. That certainly is an eyesore at the Coliseum. And I think the Coliseum looked a lot nicer before Mount Davis went up. You used to see a nice skyline of Oakland during the A's games before the Raiders played there. So maybe for a few years you take down Mount Davis, maybe fill in some of the foul territory with seats. It could open the doors for possibly a renovation of the Oakland Coliseum if Howard Terminal fails. So the A's have gotten a lot more leverage out of this Coliseum deal with the lawsuit going on. Whereas for the Raiders, I don't know if the Las Vegas Stadium is going to be ready in 2020. I think 2021 is a more realistic option. They are having a hard time trying to find corporate sponsors in Las Vegas. And perhaps the grass is not greener on the other side in Oakland. And who knows? I think they need to trade Derek Carr this offseason. That is something the Raiders need to do. John Gruden's really tore this team to the ground. He scapegoated Reggie McKenzie. And now they got Mike Mayock. We'll see what happens. But I think Mark Davis is... I think the move to Vegas, if there's any silver lining to it, it may force Mark Davis to sell the Raiders because this stadium deal may bankrupt him. I know they're operating in the red in this stadium, and Las Vegas is not the biggest market in America. And I don't know how the PSL are doing. But Las Vegas people don't make quite as much money in Las Vegas as the Bay Area. There's not a lot of... You have the casinos, and that's it in Las Vegas. I mean, granted, the attendance will be good for the first few years, but I don't see the Raiders having the same wow factor as the Golden Knights have done in Las Vegas. I mean, yeah, I'm a Sharks fan, and I can't stand the Golden Knights. But what they've done, you just have to say, wow, you really do. And I think the Golden Knights have really made Vegas a great possible sports market one day. It's still a small market compared to Seattle, LA, Atlanta. But why hasn't Las Vegas signed on for a Super Bowl yet? Where is the naming rights for the Las Vegas Stadium? So there's still a lot of questions to be answered in that. And unless the Raiders can start changing their business model, I really think the stadium's going to possibly bankrupt Mark. I think there could be new ownership by the time the Raiders move to Las Vegas. So I am totally opposed to Oracle. To the Raiders playing at Oracle. It's just not right for the Giants. They should say no. The Niners definitely should say no. San Francisco is a Niners town, not a Raiders town. I don't see them selling out games there. It might even be worse than the Chargers soccer stadium experience in Carson. So that's where I stand on the Oracle Park things. Now on to what I call the state of the Giants outfield for this year. Right now, if the season were to start today, you're starting set. Steven Duggar is definitely going to be your anchor in the outfield at center. So Duggar, and I think Duggar could really be could be the breakout potential in 2019. He's definitely got some speed, and down in the minors, he's had some power. If he can, I think he could be a kid that could hit 20 home runs this year if Steven Duggar can stay healthy and hit for average. I really like what I saw out of Duggar this last year, and Duggar is definitely one of the untouchables in this Giants whatever. And I like what I see out of Steven Duggar. I think he could be the power, the homegrown power bat the Giants are missing. If the power can come this year, I think he could be a guy who could hit 20 home runs this year if he can stay healthy. And then you got Austin Slater. I'd probably slot him in right field or left field at this moment. And Slater, he's certainly a guy that could. He's not going to hit for power, but he hits for contact. He would be a good lead, maybe a good guy to start at leadoff this year. Slater is a guy that's good. That's a good patient hitter, good with the bat. Maybe not the greatest defensive arm, but I see him opening day in left field. He could possibly rotate with Drew Ferguson. Drew Ferguson is a Rule 5 draftee the Giants picked up in the Rule 5 draft. He could be that Max Muncy. He's got some potential. I see him splitting reps with Austin Slater at left field to start the year. But we'll find out what Drew Ferguson does in spring training. I like what I see out of the kid. I saw Drew Ferguson play for Fresno last year. He put up a 300 batting average, and I think he could have power too. Maybe he's that next Max Muncy that Zaidi's looking for. We'll see. But I certainly think he will crack the opening day roster. And your right fielder, at this point, I'd go with Mac Williamson. It's now or never for Mac Williamson, as he is going to be out of options this year. So he's going to get every chance to make the 25-man roster. And before that concussion, before he got hurt, he was really tearing the ball out of the yard. And it's Williamson's time to shine in spring training. Can this finally be the year he can finally stay healthy? That is what I want to see out of Mac Williamson. He's definitely shown he can have a power bat when he is healthy, but health has just been the biggest issue for Williamson and consistency. But this is going to be his last opportunity with the Giants. He's got to shine. But I see him maybe being one of the last. But I see him getting every opportunity at right field at this moment. But yeah, I think Williamson certainly. But it's now or never for Mac Williamson, and he's going to get every opportunity in spring training. Because I don't think they want to see him get waived at this point. Also considered, I'd say Chris Shaw. I think Chris Shaw needs another year in AAA before throwing him back out in the Wolves. He just did not impress in his September call-up. I see Chris Shaw playing in Sacramento. He's going to have options next year, but maybe he's the next man up, and he needs to maybe marinate a little more in Sacramento. Maybe he can build on his MLB experience. But I do not see Chris Shaw making the opening day roster. And I do think Zaidi is going to go out and maybe get one or two veteran outfielders before the season starts. I do not think it will be Bryce Harper, so don't get your hopes up on that. But some other options could be Cameron Maybin on a one-year contract, Adam Jones on a one-year contract, Derek Dietrich. Let me take a look at the free agency right now. If I were to pick right now, I think it will be Cameron Maiden on a. Let me see who's still available at this point. Got Marwin Gonzalez. Do they maybe consider a reunion with Denard Span? Derek Dietrich might be intriguing on a short-term contract. Cameron Maben, Matt Joyce maybe on a short-term contract. Gerardo Parra, he might be intriguing for left field. He's got some speed. Maybe a reunion with Hunter Pence. I'm not sure. Adam Jones. He's definitely coming off a down year in Baltimore. Eric Young Jr. And then you got Cargo. Maybe you go with Carlos Gonzalez on a short-term contract. I'm not sure. Robbie Grossman. Brandon Geyer on a short-term contract. Carlos Gomez and Chris Young. So if I say smart money's on Carlos, I would say smart money would be on a guy like Cameron Maben and maybe Gerardo Parra. Parra could be definitely some speed off the bench for the Giants, and Maben would be a good defensive outfielder, but I just don't expect any more them to add any more real pop to the lineup. I think they're going more towards a rebuild campaign. And then some other outfielders maybe watching the minors might be Heath Quinn. He will start, I think, in Richmond this year. Heath Quinn could be a guy that could find himself on the fast track to Sacramento if he does well in Double-A. Heath Quinn is Helio Ramos. He's certainly a prospect to watch in Single-A this year. So there's some outfielding prospects that could be on the rise. I think Heath Quinn, though, could be the kid to watch make his climb to Sacramento if all things go well. All right, I'm going to probably put a bow to this for tonight's show. Hope you guys have a great week. I will be back Sunday. I think next week we'll probably do like what's left of the free agency and maybe predictions on where they sign. Maybe do something along the line of free agency and maybe Giants trade candidates before we start doing previews. That's right. We are 2 weeks away from me doing divisional previews. We're 3 weeks away from spring training. We are about, I think, 6 or 7 weeks away from opening day. So it's almost here. It's almost time. So baseball's almost here. So everybody have a wonderful Monday night. Peace.